All right, this is still the EOCT one. This is what we turned in on Friday. After I go over this one, I'll go over last night's homework, which should have been 14 through 19 of EOCT 2, and then we'll do 21 through 25 again today. Can someone set that door, please? All right. The mistake that we made here is you guys set the equation, or you set the situation up, but you didn't add the two. You didn't add the two together. It said the Jones family has twice as many tomato plants as pepper plants. So you don't know how many pepper plants they have. When you don't know something in algebra, what can you set it up equal to? X. So what I have is I have X plus, again, I don't know in this problem how many tomato plants they have, but whatever that value is for the pepper plants, if you say twice that amount, it gives you the tomato plants. So the pepper plants is X, the tomato plants is 2X. What most of us didn't do is we didn't add X plus 2X, the total of the two plants, and get 21. So that gives me 3X equals 21. So X is 7. And there was the answer that we were looking for. Again, a lot of you guys set number 2 up, but you didn't set it equal to anything. And number 2, the area of the triangle is X plus 2X plus 6X. All you found was X plus 8X is 9X. Now, the sum of the interior angles is always the same thing. That's the cool thing about a triangle. When you do the sum of the interior angles of a triangle, and you'll find out as you progress through, different objects have different sums of the interior angles, but a triangle is always equal to 180. You guys stop short right there. So if 9X equals 180, X is 20. Now this is the biggest thing that I got to get you guys to understand. Y'all are stopping right here and not going back and checking this problem. If I take X is 20, and I find 2X, which would be 40, and 6X, which would be 120, what do those three numbers add up to be equal to right there? What's 20 plus 40 plus 120? Guys, this stuff, the stuff works. That's the biggest thing that I want to get you to understand as we progress through the week. While word problems may be a little bit harder to set up and work, and you may have to remember to, like in the first one that you have to add those together, or the second one, you have to set them up equal to 180. While they may be harder to set up, once you work the problem, guys, it works. Here's what I mean. If I have 7 pepper plants, what's twice 7? 14. What's 14 plus 7? 21. Again, it works. Here, when I add these three angles together, they give me 180 degrees. Okay. The last problem. A lot of you guys set this one up, but you didn't get your like statements on opposite sides of each other. This thing says that you start a business with $6,000. So $6,000 is your starting cost, and to that, every time you make one of whatever product it is that you make, it costs you 90 cents. So 0.9x. Think about this for a second now. If I got a business that costs me $6,000 up front, and every time I make one of my, whatever it is I'm making, it costs me 90 cents. 6,000 plus 90 cents per unit is my operating cost. For me to make money, I gotta sell more than this amount. So this amount right here has to be less than or equal to. So as long as this amount is less than or equal to whatever $1.50 X is, I'm making money. So there's my problem. How do I solve that equation? Subtract 0.9x, and I get 6,000 is less than or equal to 0.6x. Divide both sides by 0.6, and you should get x is greater than or equal to, I believe that's 10,000. And so, somebody with a calculator, 6,000 divided by 0.6. So, as long as, what would happen at 10,000? What if you sold 10,000 units? Yeah, you break even. But for every one that you sell over this amount, you start making $1.50, $1.50, $1.50. You go up. Almost all of you in here started number 23 out correctly. You got the 70 right. But what a lot of you did is you circled 70 as the correct answer. Guys, it's not 70 that's the answer, but 20 plus 50 plus this angle we don't know, that equals 180. Again, word problems might be a little more difficult to set up, but when you take these numbers and you work them out and you add the three angles together, the three angles together should give you 180. So 20 plus 50 plus 110 adds together and gives me 180. For you guys that got 70, look, I see where you got 70 from, but 20 plus 50 plus 70 is only 140. Nowhere near enough to give me the sum of the angles that I need. So again, these are called distractors. They're called that on purpose. What I'm trying to get you to understand and what I want to see you do the day we take the EOCT, remember on our EOCT that day, you will take your book bag, everything goes up in the front of the room, you'll get a little ticket for the EOCT. On that ticket, it will give you a username and password. Don't use your 1996 or your 2003 or whatever. That's not the username and password you use. The username and password you use is 750 EOCT2. It should be written on there. 750 EOCT2, and then the password, I believe, is papers. And then when you do that, when you put that in, what it will do, it will give you a testing profile for being able to go to the internet. If you just go and log in as yourself, you won't have the testing profile loaded on your computer, so there won't be any way for you to get to the testing. So you log on, 750 EOCT2, when you do that, now the testing profile is engaged on that computer. You'll have a ID that you plug in there, because your ID will be a little bit different. Remember, halfway through it, you'll open the second half, and we'll take it all in that one day right there. But the point I'm trying to get to is that don't look at the screen and start pecking for answers. Get yourself another sheet of paper, keep that stuff organized, and look, if it's a plus 2L on this side, P minus 2L on the other side, look, that's not B. B says 2L minus P. That's the other way around. Look, this is P minus 2L. That's all. The only difference between that wrong answer and the right answer is the fact that those are in the wrong order. Guys, you can't just say, oh, that's pretty close, so I'm going to guess that one. That's what they do, is they make answers to try to catch you into not writing anything out. So, what I got here, again, this is basically the same problem. This was number 8 on yesterday's work. I didn't do number 8. Oh, yeah, I did in this class. But anyway, in my other classes, I didn't do number 8 because I knew I was going to have to go over it here. 4,000 plus 10x is less than or equal to 25x. This is your cost, guys. That's your cost for doing business. 4,000 plus 10x. Okay. So 4,000 is less than or equal to 15x. So when you divide by 15, you divide by 15, you get x is greater than or equal to 266.6 repeating. Well, look, 266.6 repeating isn't anywhere here. So, what's the correct answer? C. Because what it asks for is the minimum number of units that you could make to make this thing profitable. So if I got to find the first number greater than 266.6 repeating, that's 267. Guys, again, and the thing that keeps me from doing this every time, you don't want to always trial and error it. You don't want to do trial and error every single time. But if you'll work it out and you'll get 267, if you take 25 times 267 and put it into your calculator, you'll see that it's more than 4,000 plus 10 times 267. And it's the first of these answers that's more than. Okay? 260 would be less than, 160 would be less than, 400 would be greater than, but it's not the minimum amount. What you're looking for is the minimum amount.